Hey everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. This is Wave 3 News meteorologist Brian Good. Before I get into the temperatures, look at the stats there at the bottom. We revised our total, the Weather Service did, for our snowfall yesterday. Louisville picked up 8.2 inches of snow. That is a record for the date. That puts us at 13.3 now for the season. Now, normal to date is 9.2, but normal for an entire winter is 12.5. So we're already now officially above normal in snowfall for this winter season. Last year, 21.4. Could we catch up to that or beat it? Wouldn't rule it out. Temperatures outside now in the 20s. Some spots, that snowpack, we mentioned this yesterday. That snowpack, you easily go below zero with a clear sky. Now, a lot of you want 10 to 15 below, even within the metro. Not surprising, and that's what we were trying to hint at yesterday would likely happen. The city itself, because of the urbanization of where the sensor is, we usually put that number on our forecast, and we put 5, and that was about the average we got here in the city. Wind chills, it's cold outside. Wind chills in the teens at the moment. All right, winter weather advisory is in effect. It does not include our northern tier of counties. Those are controlled by Indianapolis. Their criteria for their served area is usually for an advisory 4 inches to get an advisory. And considering this is a mainly 1 to 3 inch kind of deal, it fits Louisville's criteria. That's why the advisory has been issued. But Indianapolis has got stricter criteria, as you're usually in a colder climate because of that. And that's why you're not included yet. We'll let you know if that changes. But most of Kentuckiana starts tonight at 10, ends at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. But there's 2 parts to this clipper. Let me show you the first part. Tonight, a few flurries early on. Here's the first part. Moves in after midnight, 3 o'clock, west of I-65. It moves over us just in time for the morning rush. I mean, it's a pretty good chunk of the area. We'll see a band of accumulating snowfall. And then it'll move off. Now we enter part 2 of this clipper. And this will be around midday tomorrow. This is where we start to get some breaks in the cloud cover. We develop some instability like you have in the summer season for thunderstorms. Then you develop snow squalls. So I think this first band overnight tonight and tomorrow morning has a general idea of maybe 1 to 2 inches with it. Not a huge deal, but it's already cold and it's messy outside, so this will only make the situation worse on travel. The second part is what's going to determine for those of you that could see more than 2 inches of snow, because snow squalls then break out in the afternoon, and these can come down pretty good, and you can get an inch of snow easily out of these. So we're not rolling out totals. It could go 2 to 4, but it'll be much more isolated because it's going to be much more iffy on that second part of this clipper. So that's why we're going to be very general in totals overall. And then once the snow winds down, we get ready for record cold. By midnight, single digits but below zero away from the city. The record low, we're forecasting temperature about 10 below zero, and Kevin and I will go over the data shortly. We may take that even lower Thursday morning, but by far that will be the record. All right, here are the model forecast snow totals. RPM, general 1 to about 2.5 potentially. This does include snow ratio, by the way, and it includes the snow squalls. Here is the GFS. It includes both, generally 1 to 2.5, very similar. NAM model, same scenario, 1 to 2.5. And as we head into the Euro, which I don't think has the Euro's running right now, so it takes a while for that data to get sent into the computer here. So I think this is last night's data. Either way, not far off from the other ones. The Schreff model gives out different ensemble runs of ideas of how much could fall. Worst case scenario, according to this model, will be about 2.5. Low end, about a dusting. So the black line here is the average, which would put us about 1.5 inches, and that also falls in line with the other models. Here is the sounding from the NAM to give you an idea of what it looks like. You read this, by the way, starting to the right, going to the left, opposite of a book. And you see where it picks up the snow. It's picking out 2.4 inches of snow on the NAM model. And here's the ratio line, that blue line, which averages up about 20 to 1 ratio. And that does factor in that ratio number. So 2.5 is what it's spitting out. It doesn't have a lot of moisture, but just like we saw yesterday, you can get more bang for its buck when it comes to Arctic air like this. So I'm going to just broad brush. We may adjust this by news time, but I'm thinking right now a general 1 to 2 is likely for a good chunk of our area. The 2 to 4 for Eastern Kentucky has a benefit of some orographic lift in the afternoon, so it's much more likely you guys will have at least 2 inches in Eastern Kentucky versus us here. Could we see amounts of 3, maybe 4 inches? Wouldn't rule it out, but you would only get that from the snow squalls, not from the initial first band. As always, we'll watch it. Then we get ready for the cold. Here comes the Arctic cold, record cold, by the way, as went Thursday. We try to warm up here for the weekend, which is going to give us a headache when it comes to the forecast for this next system. Moving through, you guys know what I'm talking about. You're already tweeting me about it. After that, guess what is coming our way? Another surge of Arctic air is waiting to the last part of the month. So winter is fighting tough. Hey, I said that the end of February, the worst of winter was yet to come, and it's here. All right, so let's talk about temperatures. First off, as we head into tomorrow night into early Thursday morning, this is the model forecast of about 10 to 11 below zero. Again, some areas could go much colder than that. The record is only, I believe, like zero. I'm sorry, the record is 0. So we're going to shatter that Thursday morning. Wind chills are going to be a factor as well. The model, it kind of skipped past it there, so I apologize, but it did have wind chills about 22 to 25 below zero, which will put us very close to what it felt like in 1994, if you remember that, after that big snow in 94. All right. But we don't have record stats, by the way, on wind chills, just so you know. They really don't keep that data stored at the Weather Service, so there's not much to compare that to. So in case you're wondering, we could just mentally compare it to other events, but there's no official documentation. Okay. Now we get into Friday through Sunday. We're going to be in a trough initially Friday. There's going to be a wave that'll drop in, and there's going to be wave potentially snowfall. I think snow is likely Friday night, and that could accumulate Friday night, mainly south and west of Louisville, but I think we're going to get some accumulating snow. This is what it looks like Saturday, because after that point, we begin to see a warm flow aloft. And most of the models agree there's going to be a decent amount of warming that tries to move in aloft. This is a very similar setup we just went through, because there's another piece that is digging down the Rockies with Arctic air coming in as well. Sound familiar? It should. So here's the problem on this: is this correct? Are we going to have warming? If so, is it going to be enough to give us a scenario here where we're talking about freezing rain, or is it going to be enough warming to melt away the snow enough to get our surface temperature above 32 to prevent icing and go to plain rain? Or is it completely wrong on how strong the south flow is, and this all ends up being more snow? All three of those are a possibility for the weekend. Don't bet on one solution right now. Nobody should be saying all snow. No one should be saying an ice storm. No one should be saying a snowstorm, because all three are possible, because it all depends on those factors. And considering how far we still are from this, we don't have the answers to those questions yet. Just know it's something we're watching. And stay close to the forecast, because as you guys know, it can change fast. Having said all that, next 24 hours, 2 Twix bars on the scale of 0 to 10. Friday through Sunday, I think there's going to be some impact here. Friday night, at least for snow initially, and how it turns out will determine how much higher I go. I'm going to keep it at 2. And then another blast of what looks to be light snow right now for the 25th of February, but we'll keep an eye on it. All right, guys, it's enough for today. We have a lot to track, a busy weather pattern. Be careful outside. More importantly, though, prepare for this bitter cold. It's going to be record cold. It's been a long time. I fully suspect there's going to be, or fully expect there to be water main breaks. Pipes are going to burst in homes. This is dangerous cold, all right, and dangerous wind chills. So take this seriously and keep this in your plans for the rest of the week. Thursday and Friday mornings will be the coldest by all means, and plan ahead now. Yes, the snow is going to be aggravating, but the cold likely will be a little more of an issue when it comes to being life-threatening. So stay tuned, all right? Thanks.